Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Who am I?
You're Adam. Who
Oh,
am I?
yeah. You're someone or other.
Okay.
I don't know.
So,
You're the guy who sits on my whatever
his
side of
television.
me you're on. Yeah, you're the guy who sits on my television.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm going to spend this entire video adjusting this. Anyway,
Okay.
what are we looking at here? We are looking.
We're looking at the week number 4 issue 2's from DC New 52. We picked up pretty much all of them
Except Voodoo.
and Firestorm.
Yeah, well, we won't review those then.
Yeah. So what we will review.
Well, it's not really a review. More of an overview. I said review.
We will overview of
Very
this week. We will start with Aquaman number 2.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Aquaman number 2. It has a cover, and in the eyes of Big Fishy Face, you see a reflection of Aquaman from
Issue number 1 cover.
Hooray!
Yeah.
How about that? That's almost clever.
Yeah.
I think the story of this continues right where the previous one left off. A bunch of fishy people who are all inky and ugly and monstery coming out, attacking boats, and trying to eat everything. That's what they want.
Food.
They want food. So they have, I think
Big sharp teeth.
I think I'm getting that a sense of their character is that they're driven by a hunger, and this hunger is a hunger for food.
Yep.
But seriously, though, overall, we don't know very much about them. They're just kind of, so far, kind of generic monster-like.
I think this one page sums up their entirety. What is that? Maybe there's more food there? I think you just see his face. He looks so happy. More food.
I wonder if we could get that into better focus. Or not. But
yeah.
Overall,
he looks so happy. Just more food.
Yeah, but overall, that's pretty much what they do. There's not a lot of complexity there. But overall, again, this is very much still a story about who Aquaman is. It's not necessarily so much about how people perceive Aquaman, which is what number 1 was. We still get some of that, but it's much more, I think, about what can Aquaman actually do.
Yeah.
And Aquawoman, who who's also playing a much more significant role in this one than just a few pages in the previous issue.
Yeah.
There is still a bit of a disdain for Aquaman. It's like, we've got this problem going on, we've got the FBI here, we've got the Coast Guard, I sent you out to get help, and you brought back Aquaman and Aquawoman. But overall, and she always insists that her name is Mira.
Yeah, which it is. She's not lying.
But overall, it's, I think, a lot of Aquaman actually in action against some monsters. And, again, I think it's continuing probably on the same note as the other one left off. I don't know if it's building much.
It's more serious.
It's more serious.
It's
also,
less Aquaman, LOL.
Yeah, but I think that's really what we need, because it's, again, a series that we should be able to take seriously. It's not like a comedy or anything. It's not Justice League International. Overall, again, a lot of it is also Aquaman fighting the fishy face monsters.
Yeah.
There's not very much clarity what's going on. It seems very simple, but Aquaman in action is still very fun. We get to see a lot of what he's capable of. And
we still get some of Aquaman's personal life.
Yeah, and Aquawoman too, definitely. Yeah. So I think we're really getting a sense of this is Aquaman and this is what he can do. So I think for number 2, it's strong. I'm not going to say that it's my absolute favorite so far, but I still think it's continuing on the high note.
I think it feels like a middle issue.
Yeah, but I think it's continuing on the high note that number 1 left off on. I'm just thinking the plot is so far still pretty simplistic, though. Moving on from that to Teen Titans, which you read and which I did not get a chance to.
So Teen Titans number 2. I liked the first. I didn't like the first one when I first read it, but I read it again. I liked it more, and I like this one too.
Why?
Well, we're getting definitely more character development. This one starts with Red Robin and Wonder Girl already met in the first issue, so this one starts with them kind of just like living with each other. And so we get a lot of good character development there. We see that Red Robin might have a crush on Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl's still like piss off.
Now, I noticed with number 1 that the pace was kind of going taking its time, giving us a lot of information. I hope you can hear me from behind this comic. But the pace was taking a lot of time, giving a lot of information.
You can move the comic more here.
I'd rather not. So overall, do you think that it's continuing at this pace in number 2, or would you say it's...
The pace is definitely picked up more. We start a little we do start with Wonder Girl and Red Robin just kind of mulling it out, just talking about stuff. But again, that's a lot more interesting. I thought the dialogue was very good. And then by the middle of the comic, we get introduced to the plot of the comic of this issue. We get introduced to a new character who might or might not become a Teen Titan.
See, do you mind if I
go ahead?
ask something? I also found that number 1 fell victim to what a lot of these are, which is putting a whole bunch of people on the cover and making the entire thing about like 2 people.
Yeah.
Do we get a much broader?
Well, we see everybody on the cover this time.
Well, I think we saw everyone on the. Oh, we see everyone who's on the cover in the comic.
Issue. Yeah.
However, there are still fewer people on the cover of this comic than there were of the previous one. So between this cover and the previous cover, have we gotten to all of those characters yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So,
but we are in the end. We see a new one from the cover of issue number 1. So we're slowly getting there. We're getting there definitely at a better pace than we're getting to everyone in Justice League.
But it's still kind of moving along slowly in terms of introducing us.
Yeah, we're still getting about 1 person per issue.
So would you say that because of this pacing, would you say that it made you enjoy it or that it hindered your enjoyment?
I couldn't really say. I mean, I like the pacing because we're not introducing everyone too fast. We get enough time to flesh out everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that it's moving at that pace because it does allow for more development.
See, that's the interesting thing, that I think the difference between something like Teen Titans and something like Justice League is that in Justice League you're taking by far the most iconic characters in the entire DC universe and putting them together, so you probably need less time to introduce everyone. With something like this, it would make sense doing that sort of a slower introduction. And it's a good thing that we aren't getting something like Legion of Superheroes, where you had 20 characters all being introduced in one book.
I do like that there's just like this one panel I like in this comic just so much, and it's this one. Because you can see that superheroes in the DC universe has really permeated the popular culture.
Yeah.
You see that like, people are dressed up as...
Definitely. In Secret Six, there's actually a bar where it's like a strip club, but all of the strippers dress up like supervillains. And
so I do like how, as you read the comics, you see that even in their own universe, these people are pretty famous.
I think it makes it a very distinctive universe. That this is not the same world that we live in.
Yeah.
And this is not just 30 minutes into the future. This is a distinct world in which this takes place. So should we move on to...
Yeah, okay.
And this is one of the few other ones that I
Justice League Dark?
Get a chance to read. Justice League Dark.
Let me just flip through and try to remember. Okay, so I didn't feel that this really continued from issue 1, I guess. I kind of forgot how issue 1 ended, but anyway.
Issue 1, Witch, turning the world into randomness.
And we still have the crazy witch. You could see just on the second page that the world is still crazy.
And being turned into randomness.
Yep, and we're being introduced more to characters that were hinted at. This one is really just about Zatanna and Deadman, who were briefly mentioned in the previous. Now they're getting their own kind of exploration. And the characters that we were introduced to last issue, for the most part, are just kind of ignored.
Now, I have a question. How about, there was, I think, one person who we met only very briefly, I think John Constantine.
Yeah, John Constantine gets a bit more. He seems to be, like, I guess, the dark horse of these comics.
I think that the term ensemble dark horse, as used on TV tropes, refers to the character who is a fan favorite, despite having very little screen time.
Well,
so
I think
I don't think we could talk about fan reactions here. I think we could just talk about...
He's someone who gets, very little screen time, but still participates, I guess. I want to say, I know this sounds really kind of stupid, but I want to say, in that one episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi duels the big clown pretending to be Seto Kaiba, and we see Seto Kaiba break into his kind of secret computer and hack the duel from over there. That's what John Constantine is doing. He's kind of that type of being that, who are you, face-palming.
I don't understand what you're saying.
If you read the comic...
He's hacking the computer?
No, but, like,
Pretend I'm the viewer. Pretend I'm the viewer right now.
He's behind the scenes doing something significant.
Is he hacking a computer?
No. He's hacking magic stuff.
He's hacking magic.
He's magic hacking, yes.
Alright, so I think that's all we need to say. This comic has John Constantine hacking magic. Read it.
Okay, so New Guardians.
I love how you put all the ones that you read and
I wanted to blaze through
together.
I wanted to blaze through them, but I wanted to start with Aquaman.
Now, I did not like New Guardians #1 because I felt that it was just kind of rushing through the plot.
This, it's mostly action, so it moves very fast, but it doesn't feel like you're rushing through anything. Also, I just realized this theater says Super and then Batman right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because again, superheroes permeating the popular culture.
So, with this, it continues directly after issue number 1.
Now, issue number 1 ended with Kyle Rayner getting a whole bunch of rings, not just Green Lantern rings. He's got a Green Lantern ring. He's got a Star Sapphire ring.
He has all
He's
the
a
rings
Sinestro now.
He has all the rings from all the Corps.
He is everything.
Yep, and here we see that all the lanterns from the first, well, all the other lanterns from issue number 1 who came after him have reached him and are like, what the fuck, dude?
And is this just a big fight that ensues?
This is a huge fight. It lasts pretty much the whole comic.
Do we find anything else out about why this is going on and what exactly is happening?
No, we do not. That's still left a mystery. But Rayner gets a new ally. They head to Oa to try and find out what's happening. We find out that the Guardians on Oa might not be entirely benevolent.
Well, I think we always... That's what I love about the Guardians. That we always do get that sense that...
They have ulterior motives.
They have all this power, and it can be used really well, so it's good to be on their good side, but they're not necessarily the nicest people.
Yeah.
That they are kind of dickish. Also, I love how we actually figured out... It took me so long to figure out how the new universe worked out, that because you have... Why can Kyle Rayner suddenly just become a Green Lantern in this book? I realized that since we have since we have Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner as, in this sector, the Green Lantern's numbers .2 and .3, the Kyle Rayner has now become the main Green Lantern of this sector, because in our main Green Lantern series, Sinestro is a Green Lantern of a different sector.
Yeah, and Hal Jordan is not
a Green Lantern at all. So, and overall, in terms of the character of Kyle Rayner, how do you think that we're continuing? Do you think we get...
It's not really developed much in this, because it is just a big fight scene. We see that he's trying to explain everything, but no one is listening to him except for the Blue Lantern. And if you know about the Green Lantern, how the spectrum works, Blue Lanterns are like...
Hope! Aren't they Hope?
Yeah, but the way that their lantern works, their lantern only exists to boost the power of Green Lantern, the Green Lantern ring.
And can't they jam Sinestros?
I think so. Like, they're kind of...
I want to turn Green Lantern into a strategy game.
It would make a good strategy game. But basically, by the end, you have Rayner and the Blue Lantern going to Oa, and everyone else still after Rayner.
Yeah. So that would sound kind of unsatisfying to me. Did you find it satisfying?
It's not really, like, not... More happens, but it's still kind of shallow, in that it's all one big fight scene, and then only at the very end we get actually some momentum within the plot. But I still think it's a very interesting premise, and so far that's what's keeping me reading.
Cool. I just realized that we were not interested enough to read Red Hood and the Outlaws.
No.
Anyway, next, the Savage Morphicus and Abysicus.
Yeah.
That's who we're looking at. Morphicius Abysicus.
Yep.
With his Super Saiyan hair.
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be Hawkman.
He has decapitated Goku.
He scalped him.
Scalped him,
He scalped Goku.
And so that he can wear his Super Saiyan hair as a hat. Anyway.
Instead of a beard.
Savage Hawkman.
You didn't read this, did you?
I did not, although I did read number 1.
Okay,
The thing that stood out to me most about number 1 was, I think, the art style.
The art is still... I really enjoy the art of this.
It is continuing on pretty much that level. Now, in terms of story, we had at the end Hawkman, not as Hawkman, but just as his own everyday self.
Carter Hall.
This is Carter Hall.
This is Carter Hall.
Being attacked by the crazy alien... Blanky Morphicus and Abysicus. So, are we continuing directly from that?
We're continuing directly from that. Hawkman escapes. The Nth armor does a thing, and yeah. And we find out that while Morphicus was absorbing the armor poisoned him. So he tries to work together with dirty humans to try and cure himself. The humans have their own ulterior motives in helping more blah, 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 blah. And Carter Hall is still like, why am I Hawkman? Should I continue to do this? But he is kind of getting over that fence and saying, I should be Hawkman, there's a reason, and blah, blah, blah.
So would you say it's continuing the same sort of
continuing the same theme.
The internal conflicts?
Yeah, it's continuing the same internal conflicts, the same themes.
And is it building on the plot?
It's building on the plot because we are introduced to this new human corporation who
who are led by Nick Cave.
Yep.
And I'm sorry,
that's the last page.
Well, I can just... Can I not just...
Cover all the things. Cover all the words.
I just want to cover all the words, but not the girl, but that guy, to me, looks a lot like Nick Cave. From Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. But
so,
anyway, in terms of also plot, would you say that it's building in a satisfying way, or is it going too slow?
it still feels like the human guys should have been introduced in number 1, I guess. But I guess it works as number 2. Story's moving a bit slowly, I guess, but you are getting all that internal conflict with Carter Hall.
And also, apparently, this building is in Manhattan.
Where did you say it was? You recognized it, right?
Yeah, I recognize it. I've actually seen it before, somewhere around Midtown. It's actually directly over the MTA. As in Static Shock.
Yep.
Number 1. Mm-hmm. Seriously, though, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't play around with reality, but that looks like, not only is that a really weird piece of architecture
it's the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, it's the Fortress of Solitude compared to everything else that we've seen in Manhattan so far. If another series that's set in Manhattan actually shows that building, though, I will be really happy. Otherwise, I'm surprised that that exists.
Because that'd be like a landmark.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, more so than the Empire State
That is
Building.
a very interesting
That's more
piece of architecture.
It's more impressive than Wayne Tower.
It is.
More impressive than the Daily Planet Building.
That is really impressive.
Yeah, and improbable.
Incredibly improbable.
It's like they grew it.
Sorry about that interruption there. My computer is dying.
It's like they grew it. But overall, there's just one thing that I've noticed, not only here, but every time something related to Hawkman or Thanagarians comes up, it seems to me that Nth Metal is a metal that has the property of being the one thing that can destroy whatever a Thanagarian happens to be fighting. It's strange. It's like...
plot armor.
It's plot armor. It's Deus
in the
Ex
most literal sense.
Machina metal. It's like the universal kryptonite against anything the plot happens to throw at you.
Yep. And we see that here in this issue because stuff. Moving on.
I think that's cool, but I don't like when things can adapt from story to story.
Moving on to G.I. Joe.
Yes.
I mean Blackhawks.
Starring Black Manta. You know, it's strange.
I thought Snake Eyes, but...
Yeah, it's strange how some characters tend to resemble characters. Blackhawks number 2. This is, again, carrying over the story from number 1. We say this about a lot of them, but most of them... It's strange because there are a few that don't carry over the stories from issue 1, but those are also usually well done. Like, I think Batman and Robin a couple weeks ago did not carry over the story from number 1. Superman didn't really, but overall, those managed to make it work anyhow. I have no idea why, but Blackhawk certainly does continue, and we have here another Black Ops mission going on because you have these folks being attacked. It's not entirely clear what the enemy is that they're fighting, just as it wasn't entirely clear in number 1. I think there are little bits and pieces that we get hints of, but overall, I don't think that it's a very well-established conflict.
No.
I would say it's not that bad because it's a mystery, but at the same time, I don't think that the mystery is paced in a way or set up in a way that makes it particularly easy to follow. So
I think that right now the most prominent adversary or whatever is in Konuchi's bloodstream.
Yes, the nanocytes. We know that there are nanocytes involved. So this seems to be the center of the plot.
It's the MacGuffin.
They're MacGuffin sites.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Mini MacGuffins.
But as far as what exactly is going on is still not as clear. I'm not going to say not as clear as it was in issue 1, but it's just as unclear as it was in issue 1.
We are introduced to a new plot thread that is that the Blackhawks, who are supposed to be this super high-tech, super secret organization, is all over the internet.
And apparently their leader does not know how the internet works. So ultimately one of the smaller conflicts that we end up with is Mr. Sooty McSuitpants is trying to criticize them for this, not necessarily trying to, is criticizing them for it, saying, hey, you're supposed to be a top-secret organization, you can't go around being considerably less than top secret, because we're living in the modern world. Information just can't be suppressed. So that's a subplot to this. But mostly it's a fight. It's a pretty long fight between this mysterious enemy, who we don't know very much about.
But we are given his name.
Yes, he's he's related to the nanocytes in some way. It's connected to the events of issue 1, but again, it's not entirely clear how. So while I think the action is good, it works, you got some cool characters going out and fighting, I don't think the plot is really held together very clearly. So it might be reinforced in later issues, it might not be. I'm going to have to see how it goes, although I'm definitely
Sorry,
not as
I just
interested
thought of the thing.
in 2 as 1. So
Okay.
we'll have to see what happens there. Noah's computer's broken.
My
so
computer is on the verge of exploding, so we're just gonna move on to his. So
Noah says that you absolutely hate the videos from my computer because they're not in HD. So we'll see what happens as we move on to the next video, which will come sometime after this video, because that's how sequences work.
Yep. Sorry.